I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send the blood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Another round of bullets eats my skin. The fire away. This today, I won't let this shit sink in. We are bursting through the barricades, reaching for the sun. We are warriors. Yeah, that's what we become. I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us. Oh, we are warriors. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send the blood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. This is me. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send the blood, gonna drown them out. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching up to the beat I drum. To the beat I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Whenever the words wanna cut me down, I send the blood to drown them out. This is me.
Good morning. It's all you, Lisa.
Good morning. We had to let that in. That's like, it's so inspiring. It's ridiculous. Okay, thank you for playing that. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's great to have a calendar and know what day it is. I am in day number 12 of my travel quarantine, returning back from the mainland. So I am out in 2 days. It's very, very exciting. Who else has gone through quarantine? I mean, I know we had lockdown before. It's definitely an interesting process. I've been working. It's just, I think the biggest challenge has been exercise, like walking around, just walking around the house doesn't really cut it. And I have a Fitbit, and so I track steps. So it's literally like from the kitchen to the living room, to the bedroom, to the kit, like it's, you know, you realize how few steps you get in when you stay at home all day and you're not walking around doing whatever you normally do. Yes, we can certainly talk about that, Dawn. So I do have a couple of items on the agenda today. However, one of the questions that I had for you, two things I wanted to touch on. One is certainly if you have any topics that you want to discuss, which Dawn does, and also just in general, getting a feel for where you guys are at, how things are going, what are your greatest challenges, what do you need help and support with. So why don't let me just cover a couple of things that I want to touch on before we move on, and then we can address your things and talk about how you guys are doing. So I wanted to touch on Mega Camp for sure, because that is, I know many of you have already registered. Some of you may not, or not really familiar with what it is. So I wanted to touch on it again. And I know Dan sent an email to at least the Kona agents who got it after he got back, and he shared some of the information, and we'll be sending this out in an email as well as a reminder. But they did announce who some of the speakers were. So I wanted to talk about that. And so the speakers, so other than Gary Keller, of course, who's going to talk about the state of the industry and the state of the company, which are speeches that he typically gives, and they're really informative and helpful as far as being the market expert for your clients. We have the head of industry for Google is going to be one of the guest speakers. If you are not aware, Keller Williams works pretty closely with Google. We have a really good relationship with Google, and Gary does with a lot of the people there. And part of that came from when Keller Williams started leading the industry in technology, and Gary was spending all this money and developing our tech platform. And he has used Google to bounce some things off of in the past and get their feedback, because they're obviously really a great resource. And one of the things that Google also did was, before the consumer app was released, we released it to Google to kind of test pilot it, beta test it, give us feedback before it got released to everybody. So the head of industry for Google is going to be there, the director of real estate for Facebook, as well as the VP of Global Marketing Solutions for Facebook will be there. And again, as you do know, we have a partnership with Facebook, which is also exclusive to any other real estate company. So we have a very good relationship with them. They've physically been at our last couple of conferences. Of course, since we can't do that in person, they're going to be there. They're going to speak, talk about what they see going on. I'm hoping we'll touch on things about the relationship and some of the advantages and things that we can use in our business. And then also Tim Ferriss will be speaking, and he is an author of 5 New York Times and Wall Street Journal bestselling books, but the one that a lot of people have heard of is called The 4-Hour Work Week, which is wonderful. And it's got a lot of similarities to The One Thing, but he's got his own system in terms of being able to work less and still maintain the same level of income that you're earning. So great lineup of speakers. If you have not registered, you can go to megacamp.kw.com. And normally when you go in person, it costs about $1,000 as a registration. Plus we have all of our travel expenses, which many of us have attended. And this is only $119. And it's going to be the largest digital real estate conference in history. There's going to be approximately 50,000 people attending. The other thing that's really cool about it is it's a digital platform, and it's not just like Zoom. They're actually integrating, there's a whole menu of items. I've seen a preview of it. I haven't gotten the link to use it yet. Let me know if any of you have been able to play with it. But what I understand is there's going to be different channels. So you can follow, for example, those of you who are in luxury, there's a luxury channel. And what that means is you can select that as your kind of channel, and it'll take you to all the luxury events. It'll automatically put them in your schedule, because there are luxury breakouts and masterminds and luxury. So specific to luxury, there's also commercial, there's leads. So leads and lead generation, there's listings, leads, listings, and leverage, of course, because that's the millionaire real estate model. And then luxury and commercial, I believe, are the channels. So, pretty cool stuff. Highly recommend that you attend. And if some of the events are starting, like some of the speakers start early at 5 a.m., like Gary's speech, I think on 1 or 2 days starts at 5 a.m. for about an hour and a half. However, they will be recorded and you can go back and watch them. So what I'm doing, if I'm not, I am getting up at 5 a.m. for the leadership one that I have, but in case I don't make it for one of them at 5 a.m., I already time blocked in my schedule to go back and watch. I don't know if it'll be available immediately, so you might have to wait a day or two. I know that they said they're going to make all of the sessions available for 60 days after. I would encourage you to attend anything that you're able to so you don't get backed up. But that's kind of how I'm doing it. So I already time blocked that extra hour and a half to watch what I'm going to miss. Any questions about Mega Camp? Before, okay, is this for KW agents only? Crystal's asking. No, you can invite guests, and I would encourage you to do so. If there's people that you want to invite, or other agents or other companies, or anybody you're doing a deal with that you think would benefit and attend, they can attend. We as a market center would probably have to register them, so you can let Shelby know or Cheryl, because I think they need to use our market center code, and then we just register them as a guest. So if there's somebody that you want to attend, let us know. They would pay the $119. We do have a couple of guest passes left. I think Dan has a couple for Big Island, and then I have a few. I think I have one left for Maui. And where they could get a guest pass is if they are an agent that's doing 8 million or more in production. They'd have to be a mega agent, and they would have to really want to attend. I'd have to talk to them first and make sure that they're not gonna, that they're actually gonna attend and learn from it. Okay, so that's Mega Camp. The other item is, what's the other item? Oh, Hannah, let me just see if she sent me, I requested a flyer. Yeah, I haven't gotten it yet. Well, I got a flyer from her. This is a gal that is helping us with our marketing. Oh, I think she sent it to me. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. So if you recall, some of you who were at the previous team meetings, I had mentioned that we hired somebody doing marketing that was going to help us for your listings. And so let me share this with you. This isn't the greatest view. It's just a snapshot. All right, well, you can tell me if you can see this. It's going to be a little small. Let me see if I can just make it bigger. Okay, so Aloha Real Estate Services. So basically she has an a la carte menu that she's doing marketing for other people like the Honolulu office. However, we did request that her listing package is free to you guys. So there are some a la carte items at the bottom if you want to add things, and they're really cheap. I mean, it's really inexpensive. However, what's going to be included for the listing package for you? So this is when you have a listing, you would contact Hannah, and her email is at the bottom here, which is marketing@areshawaii.com, which stands for Aloha Real Estate Services, marketing@ares. And you can send her the information that she needs, and she'll create for you your for sale graphic that you can use for multiple things. She'll do an open house graphic. She'll do a digital listing flyer. She'll email the flyer for you to your CRM. And she'll also do postings for your new listing on your social media pages. So this is all included. This we pay for, the company pays for you, the listing package. And then there are other things that she'll do if you want her to create additional graphics or flyers or postcard graphics, or run a targeted ad with, with a budget in there. So contact her if you have Hannah, if you have more questions or what she needs. We are still working out the logistics of how you're going to get things to her and what are the items she needs to do that. But if you have a listing right now that you want her to promote or a new listing coming up, contact her and she'll do that for you. Questions about that? Okay, great. Just check my list and see if there's anything else before we move on. Oh, okay. The other thing was we got an email, and this came up previously, and I mentioned it at the time that it came up, and now it's become a larger issue. So I wanted to make sure that I brought it up again, which is is anybody on the call doing mass texting, like to their database? Is anybody doing mass texting? Okay, so Latasha is. So Latasha, there was information that came out, and I can tell you there's some issues with some of the texting companies that are not permission-based. And we have to make sure that we're using platforms that are permission-based before we send everything out. Because what happened was, and this has happened a couple of times now, it happened in our region initially, so I think we nipped it in the bud. But there are certain companies that if you do mass texting with, you can be subject to legal action from somebody if they complain. It's basically like calling on the do not call list. There is a very hefty penalty. They can threaten to litigate, which happened to one of our offices in California, and they had to pay out, I want to say it was, they had to pay out, it was 20,000, I think. They had to pay out like $20,000 to settle this case, which had to do with the mass text that this person was included on, and it wasn't permission based. So if you are using mass texting, just, you know, have a conversation with the company first to make sure that it's permission based, or you might have to do something where you're getting permission or only sending to people that have given you approval or permission to be able to do that. Like if they're in your database and you're contacting them and they're okay with you texting them, that's fine. If you are running into a mass texting thing or you want to start doing that, just talk to me or your broker first so we can get the information that you need to you. But it's a serious issue, just like the do not call, and you could be subject to really, really hefty fines or liability if you're not getting permission. Okay, let's talk about what you guys have. So Dawn, so what do you want to talk about Minatoya? Do you want Michelle to discuss that? Is there something specific? Do you want us to just notify people and remind everybody what Minatoya is and what they're doing on Friday? What do you want to talk about?
Yes, so the County Council is having a meeting this Friday at 9 to go over the newest Minatoya potential change. And it looks like reading the information that basically what they're going to do is if someone's unit was not listed as a short-term rental on the tax roll or a hotel resort on the tax roll as of January 1st of this year, that it can never be short-term rented in the future. Even if it sounds like, even if it's in an apartment complex that's approved on the Minatoya list, if their specific unit isn't listed in the tax roll as short-term rental on January 1st, they can't short-term rent it ever in the future to anyone. Like even if they sold it, it can't be converted to short-term rental.
Right. Okay. So thank you. Yes, it has been a pretty serious issue. I'm going to let Marion. Yeah, I'm going to let Marion talk about it because we have updated information for you. Okay.
Okay.
So Marion, do you want to address it?
Yeah. So the way the ordinance reads is if the entire building, a unit in the building, right? So it refers to the building. The entire building would not have had to do vacation rental in order for that to apply. So I had the same question for Jason, and I reviewed it with him, and he wrote me back and he said, no, read it really carefully. And so I did, and he's right. It refers to a whole building.
That's kind of what I thought too, but further down in the correspondence letter, it definitely implies something different. Looks like Michelle's got some input.
I do. Thank you, Dawn. Good morning. As it's written, if one unit they will do this on an entire building basis. So they're only requiring one unit within the entire building to have been short-term rented. And if one unit in a building of 100, that entire building will be kept on the list. It's only if you have a building where nobody has short-term rented as of January 1 of this year, then that building will be pulled off the list. And the planning department is expecting about 1,000 units. We started with originally 11,000, then 7,000. They think now it's going to be 1,000 units that will permanently come out of vacation rental ability if the council moves forward and passes this and it gets signed by the mayor. So we're still a few steps away, but it is a critical, important meeting on Friday.
Okay, so Marion, I read what you sent me, and Michelle, you read what Marion sent with her correspondence with Jason, because what I
It wasn't
read
I've
is,
talked directly to the council. I've talked directly with the council
Okay.
members. I'm extremely clear that only one unit in the building has to have been done, and they will save the entire building within short-term rental. So there is a lot of misunderstandings, including with Jason. However, we're not going to have a mass exodus. At most, they're looking at 1,000 units.
okay. Okay, well, the good news is went from 11,000 to 1,000. So, and then, so based on their meeting on Friday, where are they at in the process in terms of what's happening on Friday? And by the way, I know some of you are on Big Island and you're like, what's going on? Because it's for Maui. However, it's good to know because you guys have short-term rentals too. Yep.
Yeah, it's passed out of committee, and it's at a
Okay.
full county council meeting this Friday. And
Okay,
so,
and then is there going to be an accessible list? So I guess we need to see what happens. And then they're going to publish a list, correct? This was an issue we had before, right?
they're going to publish a list, but any realtor in our company can testify virtually at Friday's council meeting. It's done via an online platform called Blue Jeans, and anyone can sign up to testify in support or opposition of this bill. This is what the county considers a cleanup bill of the loophole, and they consider it housekeeping. We may not feel that way. Our owners may not feel that way. They have debated whether this would be considered a taking, and their legal corp counsel has said it is not a taking, that they do not need to provide compensation because short-term rental is a privilege and not a right. So do I think there will be lawsuits that happen if this happens? Absolutely. Particularly by the owners that get pulled out.
As far as disclosure, because we've discussed that previously, we had decided, so originally we were working on a disclosure for that, and then we decided not to provide the disclosure at this time. Where are we at with that? We're just waiting to see what happens on Friday?
We will take new action based on Friday's hearing.
Okay.
Rand decided not to take any action, and we decided to not put our agents at a disadvantage, being the only company to provide that type of a disclosure that would definitely impact a lot of transactions. That being said, if they move forward on Friday, we'll have no choice but providing a written disclosure statement.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's about providing it. I don't think it's about advantage or disadvantage. It's do we have to disclose it or not, right? So is this,
well,
so
our attorney decided that we were not in a position that we had to disclose it yet, because there are hundreds of pieces of legislation that are in play at any given time. And it was not even at a committee at that time. It's now at a committee. So it's passed to the full council. It is a major impact to our West Maui market. So I'll be watching the hearing very closely on Friday.
Okay.
And I encourage anyone, if they want to testify.
Okay. A couple of questions about buildings that would be most effective, and is there a list yet? I don't think that list is anywhere accessible. Is that correct?
There's a proposed list, but it's constantly being addressed. Like I said, they start with 11,000 units and then 7,000 units. So I hate to put out a list because nothing is sure yet. They continue to call that list down to a smaller and smaller number. They're trying to act in a way that it accomplishes what they want to do without creating a lawsuit. And so they've really refined it down, and they've made it very broad. So for only one unit to have done short-term rental in an entire building, and they'll leave the entire building in, and they're looking at a building by building basis, not unit by unit. You know, it's reduced those numbers greatly. Coming out of Friday, we'll have a better sense. We'll have, you know, clarification on moving forward with the disclosure. We'll have a final list, and it may get defeated. I don't know that the full council's in support of this at this point.
Okay, thank you.
So
Thanks
that's
for the
why,
info.
yeah,
Yep.
it's going to move forward.
And thanks, Don, for bringing that up, and Marion too. Thank you guys. Okay,
I do have
so
one issue.
yes, I think it's
I
your,
have
I
one
don't know
other
if it's
issue.
your reception or mine. It's cutting out a little bit.
Can you
Go
hear
ahead.
me?
Yes.
Gotta love the internet. We met at the broker yesterday, and there will be the state and national eviction moratorium. And how this impacts our agents is that we are not able to evict tenants, even if those tenants are in place in a purchase contract that denotes that the property must be free and clear of tenants. There's a national moratorium till December 31, as well as a state moratorium. And the new requirement is the new owner can give the 45-day the 45-day notice, not the existing owner. So what that means is if you have a purchase contract that calls for you to turn over the property free and clear of tenants, you will not be able to do that under the current proclamation by the governor. So you
Sorry,
will have
what's
to
the date? What's the date where the moratorium?
December 31.
So you're saying a new owner can give a notice to vacate, but they cannot if it's before December 31st, correct?
The new owner may give notice day of closing of 45 days.
So
And
that
the tenant
you're
has
saying that
45
moratorium,
days
It
after
goes
closing.
till December 31st.
sorry, but does the moratorium apply to the new owner? Because I'm hearing it doesn't.
No, they can give notice. The exemption is on a purchase of a property. So on day of closing, the new owner will give notice to the tenant, but that tenant is going to be there for up to 45 days.
Right.
And so if you have an existing purchase contract that's going to close before December 31, we need to go through and amend all those contracts because you cannot give notice to a tenant.
Okay. So have we discussed, has anybody spoken to a lender in regard to the ramifications of that for a buyer that is getting a loan based on the fact that it's their primary residence? Okay, talk to me.
It's a state law, and they have most lenders will make an accommodation between 60 and 90 days for the owner occupant to take possession of the property.
Okay.
But it's a lender by lender basis, and it'll depend on the lender that your buyer is working with.
So it's a conversation that needs to be had.
Particularly if they're not a Hawaii lender. If they're a mainland lender, they may be unclear as to what's going on here in Hawaii, and we'll have to educate them and get them on board. So I'd like agents to work with their BICs, and if their BICs need assistance, they'll come to me. If we need to make calls to mainland lenders, we'll do so. But it's going to be on a contract by contract basis. That being said, any new contracts that are written cannot be shown as free and clear of tenants if it's going to close before December 31. So that's what the memo will be coming out today. Please read your email.
Okay, thank you for that. Interesting times. Nancy's asking what time on Friday is the council meeting? No.
9 o'clock. 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Is that the only agenda item, do you know?
No, it's not the only agenda item.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so everybody on the call, any other items, by the way, that you guys have for today?
I think we've done enough for today.
Okay, well, I wanted to check in with you then, if we can end with, you know, how you guys are doing, just get our finger on the pulse a little bit about how you're doing, what you need. Really, my questions are, what are your, I mean, if you want to share wins or successes, we love to hear those. And then also, what are your biggest challenges right now? And what do you need support with from us?
I say it every week.
Yes, Michelle?
Hello?
Hello?
Hey. Yes, my main issue you already
directly spoke about, which was the help with the back-end admin. And then I've also talked to Daniel about the services that you guys are offering. So that's really exciting.
Great. Okay. So back end, yes. So if you need help with command stuff, or you need help with back end admin support, then you can talk to me about that and I can help you get that coordinated. The command stuff would be your tech team, your tech wizards team. So that's Latasha and Robert. Thank you for that. Dawn posted the county meeting. Thank you for that, Dawn, for the agenda. Crystal, need a new listing presentation. So Crystal, there are listing presentations in Command, and then you also have kind of a digital or virtual one that's part of your consumer app. So Latasha, do you want to share where people can download the listing presentation and customize it?
Oh, sorry, I had myself on mute. Yes. So what I'll do is I'll put it in the chat, but essentially, just so you know, there are some new listing presentations in Command, as Lisa already spoke to, and then I will put a link in there so you can see them. There's also a listing presentation on my KW, and I'll put that link in there as well. And they can always reach out to me if they have any specific questions about the listing presentations.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great if you can do the link on Command. And then just a heads up, the My KW site, the internet was down. I don't know why, but it was down last night. I was trying to actually access it to get the listing presentation that's in there, and I wasn't able to get to it. So maybe we'll check on that and make sure. I don't know if anybody else had that challenge last night.
There was another agent yesterday that had the same issue. So it was very spotty yesterday. So I'll check right now and let you know.
Okay, great. Thank you, Latasha. What else do you guys need?
I had heard that the Command was down at 10 p.m. last night for about an hour and a half. So if that might
That's probably what time I was on.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, great. This is awesome. What else? What else do you guys need help with and support with? How's everything else going?
Great, things are going great.
Thank you, Michelle. Marcus is laughing. Okay. Tell me a couple of wins then. What was the win that you guys had recently and that people can share in and maybe learn from in terms of your business or life?
Anybody needs a person to put in windows in their place, I've got a person. They did a nice job in my place.
Awesome. You want to type that resource in? That would be great. We're always looking for good resources. Joyce capped. Yay, Joyce. That's awesome. Congratulations. Wonderful. Okay, you guys, anything else? Great. Well, have a wonderful rest of your week, the next couple of days, and you may see me out and about on Friday. Oh, Friday, reminder, Friday is the RAM general membership. Sorry, it's the installation, the RAM installation. And so a reminder to attend that virtually and register for that. I believe it's free because it's virtual now, which normally it's not. And of course, Keone and Sue and Michelle will all be installed. So, you know, show up, support them. It's from 3 to 4:30 p.m. on Friday. I'll be at the office.
It is free and you can win a membership.
Oh, that's right. They're giving away an annual membership for one of the registrants, right?
As we know, we just paid those. Or
Totally worth it.
Don't forget to pay your dues and take your CE. And then we'll be renewing our licenses here next month-ish, next month into November.
Yes.
So you'll pay again to the state.
Perfect.
I'm just
Okay,
adding bad news, you know.
I was looking
I know.
through.
Deanna?
Yes, I was looking through the government websites just so I can budget how much to expect to pay for my license when I renew it.
Sam, do you want to address that? I think it's, what is it, Sam? 385 or?
340.
340.
340.
340 is the renewal, and then your board dues are going to be
790.
something.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? And you guys should take the option of paying the $35 RPAC. I'm just gonna give a plug for RPAC. It's $35. And the RPAC is our government affairs, right? And like this Minatoya thing and state issues is what that covers. It's a cheap amount to keep us all in business, basically. So when you see that option, choose the option and just pay the whole amount.
Yeah, opt in.
Amount for that.
And just what does that give us?
Gives you the opportunity to stay in business, because any laws that come down that we don't like, we have the people in place to fight that in the state and in our local government and our national government. Really.
It's for your lobbyists and at the national level too.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Yes.
Yeah, it's well worth it. I mean, some people aren't really aware. I wasn't before I joined the government affairs. Once I joined government affairs committee, my whole perspective changed about our business and how important and critical that support is. It really makes a difference in our industry and has helped to keep us in business over the years. So, and to have those conversations with the politicians and give them information about what they need to be aware of that they may not, to be able to support certain causes that we support as agents and for our clients, property ownership rights. I mean, it all is involved in that. So definitely worthwhile. Thank you for that plug. I agree. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Feel free to reach out if you need anything else, and enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great day, you guys. And there's some downloads that you can download the listing presentation if you want to. Thanks, Latasha.
Is it true that from now on we have to refer to Keone as Mr. President?
Yeah, you will. Yeah, absolutely.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Have a great day, everybody.
All right,
Aloha.
you too. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Jonathan. Aloha,
Aloha.
everybody.
Aloha.
Thank you.